So I would sit down with the client and I said, okay, let's see, let's make a list of priorities. Let's prioritize what we have to do. Well, we need 5 death certificates, and we need this and this and this and this. And pretty soon you get that client back on their feet. But not only through the things they had to do, but because you've become a friend. And then, in one of these clients that taught me this, I went back to the Council on Aging and I talked to my supervisor and I said, you know, this woman is not ill. And I would like to switch her into the Friendly Visitor Program. And so I received approval, because you can't just go do that. And in fact, to this day, she and I are friends. We still go to lunch. We still go to various things.
But you know, the point here that is so important is sometimes you just need a friend. It reminds me of that. If that reminds me of that Beatles song, "When I'm 64, will you still be there?" You know, I mean, it's like we just need someone to talk to, and like you said about the idea of being overwhelmed.
That's right.
You know, and someone to just sit down and discuss
and to listen. And the most important thing is you must listen. And then when you listen, then you, like you and I are doing, then you have a lead-in question to another area. And then they answer that, and you listen. It's all about listening, and everyone needs that.
You know, it's sometimes what mind boggles me is that it's so simple.
It is very simple.
You know, but yet the world just seems so complicated. It just it doesn't. Well,
it seems today everybody needs an education and a mile-long credentials, and it's really what's in here.
Right, and the credentials.
But in order to get a good job, they need those credentials.
No, but what I'm saying is even today, now the credentials are not doing much good.
No, they aren't.
But even to get a job, even you know, one of the things that I noticed in my working world, I'm a retired corporate sales manager, and I noticed that I would not just want to promote the people who were doing the most sale. I would also want to promote the people who had a way and a kindness and a compassion with customers.
That's right.
And so I think saying and recognizing that people need a friend. And there's John Prine does a wonderful song about him and his wife retiring, and he ends the song by saying, if you ever see an older person, just smile and say hi, how you doing today? And I think it would make a big difference in our world.
It would, and that's how I live.
And that's important.
It's very important.
And then what ends up happening when you have your challenge, all of a sudden all these people,
they're all back.
And you didn't ask for it.
No, because I didn't call my markers. They were just there.
It's amazing.
It is amazing, yes.
Well, Judy,
it's amazing.
You know, time goes by pretty quick when we're having a good time here, and I don't want to miss out on the. I want to make sure I got it. The Friendly Visitor Program.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about that? What is it, and how is it funded? If you can go into a little bit.
It had been funded by the state. It is not being funded now, and so it's very difficult. There's a volunteer that was put in charge at the Council on Aging of that department, that program. And I'm not sure at this point. I'm having a meeting with Marianne McBride on Wednesday of this week, and I will be more able to answer some of that because I'll be more up to date on what is going on. But I was asked when I was first talking about my passion, you know, well, what would you do to help? And I said, I would do whatever it takes. And so I have reached deep in my pocket. And I have been putting out some of my markers to people. I know a lot of people through my life that are big corporations, and it is time to call some markers. And I have a letter just went out to Calvin Klein. I believe he will be supporting us in our endeavors. I needed endorsers to begin with.
Well, you know, it's interesting you bring that up because a lot of people don't know this story. But you know, you've heard of Andrew Carnegie.
Yes.
He was the richest man in the world. And of course you've heard of John D. Rockefeller.
Right.
And you know John D. Rockefeller.
Gorgeous home.
But also that he has the John D. Rockefeller Foundation. Well, what happened, how that came about is very interesting. Rockefeller was suffering. He was suffering from like kind of a gout, you know, and he was like, you know, one of these snarly kind of people. And he came to Andrew Carnegie and he said, how come you're always so happy? And you know, we have all this money. And And I'm not. Look, I'm suffering with my health. And Carnegie says, you've got to give.
Yes.
You've got to give back to the community, and that will make you feel better. And so what he did is that that's how the Rockefeller Foundation grew. And he actually has it in his will that they never can touch that, that there's no end to that foundation.
Perfect.
And so it's very interesting when you talk about giving, that it's very, very important.
And without funding, this program will be tabled, I'm almost positive. So it is my job, and hopefully I have taken on the job, and hopefully others in our community that will come behind me and help this move forward. It is so important in many ways. For instance, I was telling you about the woman that was situationally anxious and depressed. Do we want to stop it there, or do we want it to become conditionally? In other words, is it better to take care of a disease before it really gets going rampant? Or is it better to, so therefore it's less money, it costs less through the mental health services and all that area because the person isn't sick. We've stopped it there. We've taken care of the problem like preventative. And so I believe that that's one of the reasons that this program should not be tabled, and that we continue to keep it going. And as I said before, I'll say it one more time, we are all marching toward this time in our lives. The baby boomers are out there, and we're just like flooding in. And so we better start paying attention to the needs of the elderly.
But also, back again to the giving aspect of it, I mean, I when I listen to the television these days and I listen to some of these debates going on, I think one of the things we've forgotten is that we've forgotten how important it is to forgive and to forget and to give. To take care of our seniors.
Of course.
Because they put all these people that are in office, all this beautiful country that we have, all those people were young, middle-aged, seniors, and then on to their maker, wherever that is. I'll tell you an interesting story that happened to me that I really believe there's nobody in the world that I'm any better than, or anybody in the world that's any better than me. And how I came to that conclusion is I was about 35 years old, and John Paul Getty died. And I'm sitting there, I'm reading the paper, and I'm thinking, John Paul Getty died, the richest man in the world, and no matter, he's got all this money, all these resources, and he's still going to meet his maker.
That's right.
And at that moment I said, well, we're all in the same boat.
Right.
You can have all the money in the world, you can have all the beauty in the world, you can have the fastest car in the world, it doesn't matter. Everybody comes to the same place, and because of that we need to take care of each other. Right. And this Friendly Visitors Program really sounds important. And then what you talked about, prevention. If we work on prevention, preventing something is a lot cheaper than treating it once it happens.
Absolutely.
And I try to make one suggestion at the end of my program to all my women viewers particularly, and that is to start thinking about what can you do? What can you do to help promote peace? What can you do to help promote some sort of fairness? And the very least you can do is start writing letters to the editor. That's one thing you can do. The second thing you can do that is really important, that is write your congressman, write your president, write your local people, and make one simple suggestion. And that is, before they write that important bill, before they take that important vote, they ask one question, one simple question. Is it good for the children? If it's not good for the children, it's not good for the future. If it's not good for the future, let's not do it. Anyway, this is Elaine Holtz with Women's Spaces saying thank you so much for watching, and I will see you the next time.
The woman in your life will do what she must do to comfort you and calm you down and let you rest now. The woman in your life, she can rest so easily. She knows everything you do because the